You are listening to the Why Smart Women podcast, the podcast that helps smart women work out why we repeatedly make the wrong decisions and how to make better ones. From relationships, career choices, finances, to faux fur jackets and kale smoothies. Every moment of every day, we're making decisions. Let's make them good ones. I'm your host, Annie McCubbin, and as a woman of a certain age, I've made my own share of really bad decisions. Not my husband. I don't mean him, though. I did go through some shockers to find him. And I wish this podcast had been around to save me from myself. This podcast will give you insights into the working of your own brain, which will blow your mind. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm recording, and you are listening on this day. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. Well, hello, smart women. If any of you had been listening to the audiobook of Why Smart Women Make Bad Decisions and How Critical Thinking Can Protect Them, which we have played over about the last 10 weeks, you might like to tune in to the next 15 weeks and listen to the audio recording of my second book, which is Why Smart Women Buy the Lies and How Critical Thinking Reveals the Truth. So this is a continuation of the hapless character Kat, how she identifies the flaws in her thinking and finally makes better decisions. If you find yourself tuning in and you are perhaps in episode 3 or episode 4, by all means, go back to episode 1 and follow the narrative because it has a very strong narrative arc. So, relax, kick back, get yourself a cup of tea or a glass of wine and listen to the audio version of Why Smart Women Buy the Lies and How Critical Thinking Reveals the Truth. See you soon. Bye. Chapter 3. It's a Dyson Airwrap. The following day, you're sitting on the floor outside your flat with porridge, waiting for Mrs. Kovacic to come home. You have locked yourself out. Of course, it happened on a morning Michael hasn't stayed overnight. Mrs. Hume's relatives moved in 2 days ago. Your only experience of them since has been spotting Mrs. Hume at the front of the flats, explaining to the handsome nephew where the bin should be positioned. You're yet to meet his stylish partner. The handsome nephew walks up the stairs with Will and an older girl. You scramble to your feet. You wish you weren't wearing your track pants with the holes in the knees. The boy stops and stares at you. He leans over and pats porridge.
Hi,
you say to the boy.
He's shy,
says the girl. The girl is beautiful. She has her father's looks. The same jet black hair in a thick braid, wide-set green eyes, perfect bow mouth, luminous skin. She's dressed in Versace sneakers, a Dolce & Gabbana sweatshirt and a Bulgari bracelet. You know because the labelling is all over them.
Right,
you say. You address the comment to the girl.
I'm locked out.
I'm Willow. At my last school, we had rock climbing as our term sport. They installed a new wall costing £24,000. We had to do a lot of fundraising. I made earrings. They sold for £13.50 a pair. Would you like me to scale the outside of the building and climb through your window?
Willow, don't be silly,
says the handsome nephew, pulling Will's hand away from porridge, then to you.
You have a way to get back in?
Yes, thanks anyway, Willow. That was very kind of you.
Anytime, dude.
The handsome nephew rolls his eyes.
Okay, kids, keep moving.
You watch them climb the stairs. The handsome nephew walks in front, the girl next, and the boy last. The boy turns, raises himself on his toes and looks at you.
We should have drinks sometime.
The handsome nephew turns.
Sure. Charlotte's going to love you.
He smiles at you.
Thanks.
He may be churlish, but to have his smile bestowed upon you feels like the sun breaking through the clouds. Mrs. Kovacic appears on the landing carrying a bag of sweet potatoes. She tuts at you and produces a key.
Why don't you put spare key on Porridge's collar?
She says. You open the door. Porridge bounds inside and starts nudging his food bowl around the kitchen. You sigh.
Just wait 1 minute.
You say to him.
What's wrong with you?
Says Mrs. Kovacic.
My bank accounts were hacked.
How did I do that?
I made a mistake and gave my information to a scammer. Be careful if someone rings you and tells you they're from eBay.
When the scammers ring me, I pretend to be ignorant immigrant. I string them along. I can't believe you fell for it.
She holds up the bag of sweet potatoes.
Mr. Kovacic dug these from the garden. Mr. Yi will be so proud. Tonight, I'll bring you and Mickey soup.
Oh, thanks.
5 minutes later, there's a knock on your door,
Hi.
says Willow.
If you're going to walk your dog, can I come? I'm feeling super claustrophobic in that flat.
Wow, you've only been home for 5 minutes?
You stand back and wave her in.
I'm going to walk him in a minute. You hungry?
No thanks. I just ate half a packet of classic assorted biscuits. Aunt Lucy told me they're discontinuing them, which is criminal. There's going to be demonstrations.
Right.
You go to the fridge where you find yesterday's couscous salad and take 3 quick mouthfuls. You close the fridge and grab Porridge's lead. Willow is staring at one of your paintings.
Cool painting. Your flat's super nice.
It's the same as your aunt's.
Less people and junk.
Willow says. You go to the mirror above the mantel and tuck your hair into your wool beanie.
Cool beanie.
Your aunt knitted it for me.
Oh my God. Are they Nike Kiri sneakers?
I don't think so. They were on sale at the mall.
Oh my God, you're so authentic.
Right.
In the mirror, you can see her looking at you. You are suddenly aware of yourself through her eyes. You are a cool person able to wear a hat knitted by your octogenarian neighbour without apology. The art on your walls is not the result of your inability to conclude what sort of art you like. It reflects your love of eclecticism. Eating from the open door of your fridge is not a sign of profound disorganisation and a lack of care for your health. It shows a free-spirited attitude towards food. If you had a stoop, you'd be sitting outside in the cold evenings, smoking roll-your-own cigarettes and drinking long-neck beers which you'd hold by the neck with 2 fingers. You are a fully functioning adult. You are in control. You do not care what people think. You can come and go as you please. You'd like to stay in Willow's sphere of interpretation forever.
What's this?
You turn around.
It's a Morse code machine.
Like from the war?
Yeah. My neighbour, Mr. Kovacic, gave it to me.
I could live with you instead of Aunt Lucy. I tried to move into my new boarding school early, but they said I had to wait until term starts. I told them my whole family had COVID, but they checked. We can be housemates. I've done home economics. I came second in the year. My pancakes are sick.
Right. Okay. Well, you can't live with me, but we can go for a walk.
No ordinary hairdryer. You and Willow exit through the foyer door. It's a pristine late winter morning. The delicious smell of wood smoke is in the air. You are buttoning your cardigan when a metallic pink object crashes to the pavement in front of you. You grab Willow and leap backwards. Porridge barks ferociously. Whatever it is, it's shattered. You look up at the building. There is no sign of life in any of the windows. You still have your arm around Willow. She's breathing heavily, her hand over her mouth. Porridge continues barking. You and Willow approach the object. Willow nudges it with her foot like it's alive.
It looks like a hairdryer.
You say.
That's no hairdryer. It's a Dyson Airwrap.
You look up at the building again. A head appears. It's Will,
Oh my God!
calls Willow.
What are you doing? Charlotte will kill you. It was brand new.
Porridge is sniffing at the side of the item.
You could have killed us.
Willow yells. Mrs. Kovacic's head appears at her window. She slides it open and sticks her head out.
What is crashing noise?
She says.
It's a hairdryer.
You say.
It's much more than a hairdryer. It curls, waves, smooths, and dries hair without extreme heat.
Wow.
You say.
Charlotte's going to kill him. They retail for $800, but Charlotte had a voucher for $100. It was going to expire, so she only paid $700. Hello?
She calls up to Mrs. Kovacic.
I'm Willow.
You daughter of Mrs. Hume's nephew.
Yes, they won't take me at boarding school yet, and now my brother's tried to kill me with Charlotte's Dyson Airwrap.
She turns to you.
I was going to try it out tonight too.
You sure it's your brother?
Calls Mrs. Kovacic.
Could be the curse.
The curse?
Says Willow. You sigh.
Don't worry about it, Willow.
Why is there a curse?
There's not.
You say. Mrs. Yee's quiet. You'd seen her. Mrs. Yee. Her front door had been slightly opened and you'd looked in and seen her sitting in her chair, staring straight ahead. You had backed away into the hallway, stood uncertainly like a child and knocked on the Kovaciks' door.
Something's wrong with Mrs. Yee.
Mr. Kovacic had pushed open the Yee's door and wheeled himself into the flat.
I can't cook for one.
She'd said. He'd taken her hand.
He never saw the inside of a nursing home, Legion.
It was the first time you'd heard Mrs. Yee's given name, Li Jin. Mrs. Kovacic had appeared beside you.
The curse has taken him.
She'd said, and moved past you into the flat. She'd stood behind Mrs. Yee and enveloped her in her arms.
COVID took him.
Mr. Kovacic had said.
He with God now.
Mr. Kovacic had taken both women's hands as they'd sat in silence, their heads bowed, a triumvirate of sorrow. You were still in the doorway. You'd loved Mr. Yee, but you didn't feel part of this. To have lived with someone for 40 years and lost them, to have your strong husband confined to a wheelchair, these sorrows were outside the confines of your life. Tragedy had breathed a long, slow breath on their lives, and all you could do was bear witness to their grief. Now out on the street you look up at Will. He's still standing at the window.
Yep, I know,
Says Willow.
He looks so innocent.
She grabs a poo bag from Porridge's lead and fills it with pieces of the hairdryer. Mrs. Kovacic leans further out the window.
Right. So, who else is home?
Just Dad. Charlotte was using the air wrap this morning. It's really improved her curl.
Right. And your dad wouldn't have seen Will throwing this Dyson air wrap out the window?
He has to lie down a lot.
Come on. Let's go and see what happened.
Porridge is not happy. You pull his lead towards the foyer, but he's having none of it.
Come on, Porridge.
He lies down on his side in the middle of the pavement. You long for the lights of Trixie, the small Pomeranian cross, who could be scooped up and carried. You would even tolerate putting your small dog in a coat and giving him his own Instagram page if it meant you could pick him up. You fish out a dog treat and wave it in front of Porridge's nose.
Come on.
He turns his head away.
I guess I'll have to go home and save Will. Dad won't be happy.
Willow strikes you as a child who has endured much in her short life. You look into her future and see her ticking off the days until her 18th birthday, when she can march out of her parents' home and start life on her own terms. You want to warn her, there's no new start. There are new people, a new bedspread, a new kettle, different meals, different voices saying, hurry up, I need to use the bathroom, but you remain yourself. You travel with yourself to your new flat. You are there when you put the key into the lock. You are there at night when you crawl into your new bed you bought with your new credit card. It's your thoughts that wake you in the night. It's you who stares into the half-darkness because someone left the hall light on. It's you who crawls out of bed in the cold dawn to tut at the waste of electricity, only to find your flatmate sitting on the floor with a half-empty bottle of wine in one hand and her phone in the other.
What is it?
You say. I thought he was it, she says. It is you who takes the phone from your flatmate and sees the picture of her boyfriend with his arm around someone who is not your flatmate. It is you who says,
I never liked him.
Cat? Cat? Cat?
Willow is now saying.
Porridge won't get up.
Apparently he was an assistant's dog.
Willow looks down at Porridge lying on the pavement.
I guess he wasn't very good at it.
Says Willow. You are both standing there looking at Porridge when Michael's car rounds the corner. One of Porridge's ears twitches. The car pulls up next to you and Michael gets out.
Hi.
He says. At the sound of Michael's voice, Porridge leaps up and runs to the car.
You still need a key?
No thanks. Mrs. Kovacic let me in.
I've bought you a coffee.
He hands you the coffee, kisses your cheek, bends over and pats Porridge's ears.
Hi. I'm Willow. I'm not at boarding school yet, but now I'm not sure if I'll even be able to go because my brother just threw Charlotte's Dyson Airwrap out the window. It's expensive. Kat has to go and investigate it.
Hi, Willow. Who threw a what out of where?
Don't go there.
You say to Michael. Mrs. Kovacic reappears at her window.
Mickey!
She calls.
Curse caused object to fall and nearly killed Cat and Mrs. Hume's handsome nephew's daughter.
You roll your eyes.
It's Michael, not Mickey, Mrs. Kovacic.
Says Michael. He turns to you.
How about I take Porridge for a walk?
He'd love that.
You say.
You recovered from the scam?
He says. You shrug.
Still feel like an idiot.
You're not an idiot.
Says Willow.
Will is an idiot.
Michael takes your hand.
It's true. You are not an idiot.
Michael levers Porridge into the back of the car and starts the engine. Porridge has already climbed into the front seat by the time the car pulls away from the curb.
Is he your boyfriend?
Says Willow, following you into the foyer and up the stairs.
Yes.
Will you marry him?
I don't know. Do you think I should?
You may as well. He seems good with dogs.
Willow opens the door to Mrs. Hume's flat.
Dad!
Calls Willow.
Will threw Charlotte's Dyson Airwrap out the window.
The handsome nephew comes to the door. Willow hands him the plastic bag and walks past him.
He did what?
He says, looking into the bag.
What is it?
You lean in and peer into the bag.
It's the hairdryer.
What hairdryer?
It's not just a hairdryer, it's the Dyson Airwrap.
Calls Willow.
And he threw it out the window.
You grimace.
Yes. It nearly hit us.
He turns back into the flat.
Will, come here.
He picks a piece of the hairdryer out of the bag and examines it.
Not the $700 hairdryer, is it?
He says. He looks directly at you. His good looks knock you off kilter again.
It nearly hit us.
She's going to want this replaced.
He says. He turns into the flat.
Will, come here.
Willow answers.
He can't hear you. He's playing a game.
Do you have one of these?
He says, holding the bag up.
No.
A $700 hairdryer, ridiculous.
It was $800 down to $700.
Also dangerous.
You say. You stick your hands in your pockets.
It could have hit myself or Willow.
Anyway, that's a year's pocket money he won't be seeing. Thanks, Kitty.
Cat.
Yeah, thanks, Kitty Cat.
He says and shuts the door. You trudge back downstairs, knock on the Kovacic's door and let yourself in. Mrs. Kovacic is in the kitchen now making pasta. You sit at her kitchen table and pull a bit of the hairdryer out of your pocket. You run your finger along it.
What did father say about hairdryer out window? He agrees, curse?
Says Mrs. Kovacic.
No, he did not agree is curse.
Mrs. Kovacic purses her lips. She starts cutting the pasta with extra precision.
There is more things than meet the eye in this heaven and earth.
Yes, but we know it was the boy. We saw him at the window.
Mrs. Kovacic shrugs theatrically.
I guess I should go home.
You head for the front door.
Bye, Mr. Kovacic.
You call out. As you're leaving, you hear Mrs. Kovacic say,
The curse getting stronger every day. That's the problem.
Superstitious nonsense. People cause problem, not curse.
says Mr. Kovacic.
Look at trouble I had with Mr. Kroll.
Since the stroke, Mr. Kovacic's life has closed in on him. There is the lounge room, the view from the window, and the slow and never-ending parade through his mind of the injustices heaped upon him by Mr. Crow, his boss. He turns the scenarios over and over, finding transitory satisfaction and reconstructing the storylines. In his imaginings, instead of standing mute across the desk from Mr. Crow, clever retorts spill from his mouth. He sits relaxed, his arms crossed behind his head, and his still functional legs propel his feet upward until they rest on the corner of Mr. Crow's desk. He sees the renewed respect on Mr. Crow's face, respect tinged with fear. The reverie is broken by the barking of the stupid dog across the hall.
Mia,
He calls.
bring me a Coke and tell Kat she need to take Porridge to a dog obedience school.
He tries to return to the pleasant daydream, but the moment has passed. Believing is seeing. Some people perceive tragic events as sad, random, and deeply unfortunate. They grieve and then move on with their lives as best they can. It's also a common human response to look for an explanation for the tragedy. We see this in many contexts. In the face of disaster, people will say things like, "It's meant to be," or "It's God's will." These are understandable human responses to events that are outside our control. The idea that we exist in a random universe where circumstances can change in a heartbeat is confronting. It's more comforting to imagine superhuman forces in play. These forces can be appealed to, opposed, avoided, or railed at. Even if these forces are malevolent, this is preferable to them not existing at all. It's better the devil, you know. We're inclined to believe what our tribe believes. Mrs. Kovacic's tribe comes from Brac, Croatia, and has a history stretching back centuries. Her tribe is steeped in a belief that curses are causal in adverse events. It's easy to look at Mrs. Kovacic and think that her belief in curses is archaic. Still, for all of us, our sense of self, our very identity is tied up with our tribe's beliefs. If you believe that events are caused by something from an unknowable realm, you're playing in the same ballpark as Mrs. Kovacic. Whether your beliefs are connected to a religion or a New Age sense of spirituality, you get to belong to a tribe of people who see the truth that the rest of us are unaware of. You are part of a population that understands there are things in play that are not of this world. There is comfort in social tradition, in centuries-old beliefs that explain why seemingly random events are not random at all. To believe there are dark forces at work means you can employ strategies to combat these forces. You do not have to feel victimized by errant events outside your control. Instead, there is a pattern to the occurrences, and a pattern means, at some point, the occurrences will stop. Mrs. Kovacic's thinking is hijacked by motivated reasoning. This is where you decide what evidence to accept based on the conclusion you'd like to reach, just like Cat does when she agrees to take on porridge despite evidence he is a tricky animal. If the conclusion you'd like to reach is that the flats are cursed, you'll search your internal database to support this belief and seek out people who are also of this opinion. You can then happily go on your way, safe in the knowledge that there is a reason things are going awry. Confirmation bias is also in play. This is a bias we all fall prey to constantly. It ensures we only notice information that supports our position, and we discount data that is antithetical to what we already believe. In Mrs. Kovacic's case, anything positive that happens is automatically discounted, or not even noticed. But every negative occurrence in the flats is confirmation that a curse is at play. Availability bias is a pervasive brain flaw where we rely on information that most readily comes to mind. As Mrs. Kovacic grew up with people who believe in curses, it's the explanation she thinks of when something goes wrong. Magical thinking is the belief that our thoughts or wishes will have some effect on the external environment. Mrs. Kovacic puts a curse remover in Mrs. Hume's pot plant to keep her safe. The fact that Mrs. Hume is still alive proves to Mrs. Kovacic that her magical thinking is working. Mrs. Hume has indeed lived unharmed while the curse remover has been in the pot plant. However, this doesn't prove the curse remover is responsible for Mrs. Hume's ongoing survival. Again, confirmation bias kicks in to confirm the curse protection technique is working. It's accurate to say that errors of perception and reasoning travel in packs. They support and encourage each other. They enable and vouch for each other. It's easy to look at Mrs. Kovacic and judge her for her superstitious beliefs, but every time you touch wood, or make a wish over a birthday cake, or avoid walking under ladders or stepping on cracks in the footpath, you're indulging in magical thinking. What's Cat really like? The way we see the world is a complex process. We do not simply look out into the world and make a clean assessment of what we see. Neuroscience now tells us that the way we see things is predictive. Our perception is like a mosaic of our past interpretations, experiences and feelings. What we see is a composite of these things. We use heuristics, mental shortcuts, to enable cognitive speed. The term heuristic was coined by economist and cognitive psychologist Herbert A. Simon. An object shaped like a tennis racket is easily identified as a tennis racket, even if you've never seen that particular make of tennis racket before. If we didn't have heuristics, we wouldn't be able to function. The downside is that heuristics mean we're assumptive about people. We make lightning-quick assessments of people based on obvious external factors that may or may not be accurate. When you meet someone, your brain does a quick search of its database to come up with similar attributes in people you've come across before. These could include their voice, their haircut, their clothes, the vocabulary they use, the way they tilt their head, or the curl of their lip when they smile. Your unconscious then throws all these impressions into a mixing bowl, gives it a quick stir, and without you being aware of the behind-the-scenes action, you have what we refer to as a gut reaction. Now, gut reactions can, of course, sometimes be unerringly accurate. It's this dazzling accuracy in some situations that leads us to conclude that our gut reaction is accurate in all situations, but a lot of the time, it's way off the mark. Our intuitive response to situations and people has unfortunately been elevated to an almost mystical level. Women especially are sold the message that our intuitive response should be trusted, but this is a message sold without context or nuance. Gut instinct is usually based on previous experience, good or bad. Then confirmation bias kicks in, which doesn't allow us to consider the facts of the situation rationally. It gives us a sense of control to think that we have a mental algorithm we can rely on to assess other human beings. Unfortunately, we don't. Willow interprets Cat, Cat interprets Willow, Cat makes an assessment about Willow's future based on her own past. Willow interprets what sort of person Cat is based on the films she's watched and people she's met during her short life. We are incredibly assumptive about people. Why does it matter? Because assumptions are dangerous. You may think you make considered assessments of who people are based on concrete evidence, but you don't. Think about the last time you met someone at a party or a work event. Chances are afterwards you said something like, "I met Evan, he was so nice," or "I met Evan, he was awful." The truth is, you have no idea who Evan is. Consistency bias is a cognitive flaw whereby, once we've decided what a person is like, we're likely to skew our thinking to support our original decision. If added information comes along that may challenge our initial impression, we are likely to discount it using confirmation bias to bring us back in line with our original impression. After all, being right and feeling we can trust our intuition is important to our sense of self. If you've decided Evan is awful, you may miss the positive contribution that Evan could make to your life. If you've decided Evan is so nice, you'll probably interpret his motives in future interactions as honourable. You'll trust him, and this may or may not be in your best interest. Label laws. Why do we care about labels? How do marketers get into our brains and convince us that we'll be happier if we have the right shoes, the right sweatshirt, the right holiday, the right kettle, the right diet? I don't need to tell you we are bombarded with advertising. Our brains absorb it like sponges, and we unconsciously trust the people who are selling it to us. We are tribal creatures. Fitting in and having status is built into our DNA. There is a strong survival drive to be the dominant person. When I was in Switzerland recently, I visited Chateau de Chillon, where the medieval duke once received his guests while lying in bed as a way of communicating his social standing. Nothing has changed. Being able to open your Prada handbag to retrieve your Montblanc pen while tapping the heels of your Louboutins fires off a part of the brain that is linked to survival. Our brain is striving to ensure that we survive, that our genetic line is insured. How does a $6,000 handbag safeguard our genetic lineage? It doesn't. But we rely on parts of our brain that have been functioning for thousands of years to make sense of our new and complex world. Being able to show that we can afford the expensive shoes, the expensive house, the expensive car, or the seat at the front of the plane sends a message to others that we are someone who matters. Once we have bought the luxury item, confirmation bias kicks in. We need to justify our purchase. So, of course, the $1,000 shoes were worth it. We can feel the quality as soon as we slip our feet into them. These trinkets, conveying status, are also attached to our children. If we feel our children reflect ourselves, and it's important they attend the right schools, wear the right clothes, and visit Aspen on their school holidays, all reproduced on social media so our social standing is verified, of course. We also have a bias around loss aversion. Once we have a discount voucher in our grasp, we feel a strong desire to use it. If we don't use it, our brain feels we have lost something, as if the money really was in our pocket. It feels like wastage. Marketers play on our deep fears around scarcity, plugging into our atavistic anxieties around dwindling availability. Competing for scarce resources was a reality in our deep, dark past. But our anxiety around loss is not so useful when we're driven to buy an $800 hairdryer for $700 just because we fear the voucher will run out. The bandwagon effect is also huge in influencing our purchasing decisions. We perceive there to be social proof that an item has value if it has gained popularity. Just having been exposed to something increases the likelihood we'll want to own it, drink it, eat it, or wear it. Once our visual cortex has perceived an image, it is stored in the brain. Then, the next time we see it, it's familiar. Sporting brands spend buckets of money advertising their gear at sporting events for this reason. And of course, as every exhausted parent at the supermarket knows, it's a constant battle to combat the assault of junk food on children's brains. Lie detection, a curse on both your houses. Believing in curses, the universe giving you lessons, or bad things coming in groups of 3 is your brain's way of making you feel there's order in the world. There's probably not. Believing in higher forces can muddy your cognitive waters and get in the way of you analysing situations with clarity. I know who you are. Your brain makes lightning-quick assessments on who people are. You are clueless. That person could be the love of your life, or they could be Melissa Caddick. I have to have that handbag. No, you don't. End of chapter 3. Thanks for tuning into Why Smart Women with me, Annie McCubbin. I hope today's episode has ignited your curiosity and left you feeling inspired by my anti-motivational style. Join me next time as we continue to unravel the fascinating layers of our brains and develop ways to sort out the fact from the fiction and the over 6,000 thoughts we have in the course of every day. Remember, intelligence isn't enough. You can be as smart as paint, but it's not just about what you know, it's about how you think. And in all this talk of whether or not you can trust your gut, if you ever feel unsafe, whether it's in the street, at work, car park, in a bar, or in your own home, please respect that gut feeling. Staying safe needs to be our primary objective. We can build better lives, but we have to stay safe to do that. And don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the podcast and share it with your fellow smart women and allies. Together, we're hopefully reshaping the narrative around women and making better decisions. So until next time, stay sharp, stay savvy, and keep your critical thinking hat shiny. This is Annie McCubbin signing off from Why Smart Women. See you later. This episode was produced by Harrison Hess. It was executive produced and written by me, Annie McCubbin.